Everybody, welcome once again to AfriPost. I hope wherever you're watching us from, you're doing great. Now, Africa has been known to really struggle with the question of debt. And this is because most of the multilateral organizations like IMF and World Bank have really worked to exploit Africa and ensure that it remains in perpetual debt trap. But in the midst of these problems, many economists have grappled to answer one question: who is responsible for the debt in Africa? And one of the many answers that has popped up is that China is responsible for the unstoppable debt that is affecting Africa. To answer this question, I want us to listen to one economist, the late George Ayittey. He was a renowned Ghanaian economist who was really knowledgeable in the questions about debt in Africa and how it can be sustained or even eliminated. Let us listen to this clip keenly and then react to it after the video. Kindly watch. That speech was really laden with a lot of information, especially when it comes to understanding how the debt in Africa has really grown, linking it with the China-Africa relationship. But then if you look at it critically, you would realize that there are certain instances where Africa has been used as a place for fighting geopolitical wars, because we know that Africa is the place where every superpower wants to really have a taste of. They are currently looking at ways through which they can capture Africa and have it to its box. Now, if you've really listened to that clip, you'd note that Africa has really had a different taste of relationship with China compared to other Western nations. Previously, before China came into place, we'd realized that Western nations came to Africa and the debts they were offering Africa were laden with a lot of challenges, especially when it comes to a lot of regime change issues, a lot of restructuring in terms of governance structures, and a lot of issues relating to the morals that Africa should adopt. But when China realized this, they said that no, we will go to Africa and we'll have a new relationship. We are going to let you do your thing, have your way through which you are going to run your economy. All we want to do is to bring you that debt and use it to develop your infrastructure. This is something that has been held by many people. However, there are those like George Ayittey who really says that China has over-dominated Africa when it comes to oversupply of debt, because it is giving Africa easily accessible loans, and African leaders, as they are known, they are very corrupt, and they will not use this debt to what it is supposed to do. And that is where kickbacks and some little corruption cases have been highlighted. But then let us look at the case of Zambia, because Zambia has been used as an example in many ways to be the poster child of the effect of China's debt trap in Africa. You know, it was said that China gave Zambia debt, and because of the financial crisis that it has had for the past few years, China was responsible for a lot of the challenges that Zambia was facing. But a critical look at Zambia's debt information revealed that China is only responsible for close to 16.7% of its debts. The rest of the debts that it holds are from other sources. For instance, US businesses were engaging directly with Zambia's government. But here, Ayittey is saying that China has found a way through which it can get to business and dominate Africa, get its resources, and leave Africa impoverished. But one thing that I want us to take from this speech is that he is saying that African problems can only be solved by African solutions. That is, every challenge that Africa has can only be solved by African people through developing African ways through which these problems can be attended to. If you look at it, we have looked to West and we have realized that the loans they are giving Africa are meant to recolonize it. But then if you also look at the debt that China is giving Africa, it is also meant to have some control of the African continent, because Africa, as we know, is endowed by many, many valuable natural resources. And these resources are some things that people want wherever they are. So what can Africa do? That is the challenge that we have as a continent. Africa must understand that it has to develop African ways through which it solves its own problems. And that is what this economist was kind of trying to propose to African people. We know that these major superpowers have continuously tried to have different countries in their pocket. Every year you find that there is a trip of African delegation to United States, where they have the United States Africa Summit. You also have a delegation of African leaders going to Russia, where we have a Africa-Russia Summit. Then you also have the Sino-Africa Relationship Summit that is always held in China. These kind of activities have demonstrated that Africa is a place where everybody really wants to have a piece of. And if African head of states do not really get to have the best solution for their continent's problem, they will sell their continent to the highest bidder. And this will leave the citizens with a lot of challenges to address. We as Africa must come out to support ourselves. And one thing we must understand is that we will not get our assistance from Western countries, because they came here, they have destroyed our culture, they have destroyed our civilization, they have brought us new issues. So it is very important that we develop ourselves and understand that until we fashion our solutions to address our problems, nobody will give us the best solution. And in this point, many will only present solutions that serve their best interest. I don't know what you think about this topic. Please, if you're watching us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and also share. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless you. Goodbye.